Welcome to the Draft Board Hockey Show. My name is Mark and my buddy Linc from New Wave Hockey. We're ready to talk some hockey. How's it going, buddy?
It's going good. It's going great. We're talking about one of my favorite prospects today, and I'm really just excited to get into it. So let's start with everything else we have to get through, and then we can talk about our boy,
You want to get
Cullen
to
Potter,
the main attraction,
the
right?
main
Sooner than
event.
later.
I'm so excited.
Well,
I love this guy.
obviously the big thing right now is the Mem Cup. It is in full swing, and tonight is the clash of the Titans, Medicine Hat and London. Finally meet up, both teams 2-0. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch that game.
It's the real heavyweight match. I've been waiting for it for a long time. This is Gavin McKenna's biggest test so far as a player, and he's not even 17 yet, is he? He's still 16. Or he might be 17.
He's 17. He's an 07, but he's in that late realm there.
Nonetheless, he still has his whole draft year to go, and this is a really important game for him today. Obviously, it's still like round robin, but Medhat's been playing well. I would argue they've been playing a little bit better than London. London has had some squeakers. They had a squeaker against Moncton, and then they beat Rimouski. This is This is London's biggest test, obviously. But I really feel like that Medicine Hat has just been unreal. They look like they've been scoring way better than London, in my opinion. So we'll see.
Yeah, you know what? Medicine Hat has been unreal, and McKenna is, oh my god, he's gonna be the real deal. He is a lot of fun to watch. And you know what? So now the other thing is that talking about Moncton, Caleb Desnoyers hasn't been playing too well, and people are kind of chiming in. Like, does he have an injury? Is it too much hockey in the season? Like, what's going on with Caleb in this Mem Cup?
Here's the thing with him. I've been a little bit disappointed with what he's been doing. Again, but also like we've been teeing him up a lot.
Yeah.
We've been teeing him up a lot. And needless to say, it's been a long season for them. He's been playing. I think he played every single game for them this season, unless that he missed one for like the CHL Prospects game. Long season. Won the QMJHL championship in swift fashion. So it's a little not great to see him kind of just come out the gate slow, but both QMJHL teams have come out slow. They've been kind of dominated by the two teams that they've played. Hopefully, he's going to show his might against Rimouski, get that confidence back, and then I'm not too worried. We kind of hyped him up a lot, and it's a big stage. And Medhat and London are two tough teams, so like I'll give him that. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt there.
Yeah. So herein lies the question: is that, and I said this, we talked actually about this before the Memorial Cup. I said that Caleb Desnoyers is going to come into this tournament, and there's going to be a lot of focus on him. And if he does really well, then it's going to kind of solidify his top 5 ranking. But if he doesn't do well, then that might shy away some of the pundits. And I think it's already on Twitter. Everyone's already saying, hey, what's going on? Is he hurt? Is he not, can't keep up, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, it's tough, right? Because it's only a small sample size. And like you said, a lot of hockey's gone by. He did lead his team in the Q playoffs in points.
He was the QMJHL playoffs MVP.
I was just about to say he was the MVP of the Q playoffs. So you know what? He's got a lot of accolades already. And yeah, you know what? It's going to be interesting to see. But like injuries, you hear about typically afterwards, so we don't really know. So, but there's speculation right now. I had read somewhere that actually the puck bunker boys were saying that he looks slower than usual. So I don't know if it's just the speed of the game in the Mem Cup, or is he have a underlying injury? So it's going to be interesting to see.
I haven't really found that he is a particular fast player. He's still good in transition. Maybe that's a symptom of the QMJHL. Whatever the case is, he's not going to be playing in the NHL next year. He's my number 4 guy, but I still think he's a top 5 player. He hasn't changed in my rankings. Yeah. I think he's only just strengthened himself at number 4. I think we have to kind of realize everyone needs to settle down. It's 2 games. All right. Again, like I think he is obviously the best player on his team, which speaks volumes on a stacked Moncton team. But we kind of have to acknowledge the fact that Moncton they're nowhere near London. They're nowhere near Medicine Hat. And again, sometimes you don't come through. So we'll see. I'm not too iffy over it. Maybe it's an injury. I'm not losing too much confidence here. I'm still locked in at Desnoyers at 4, as controversial of an opinion that may be. So
No, you know what? I think this, like I said, typically after the top two, it's kind of personal preference for a lot of people who, how they have their rankings or mocks or whatever the case may be. So, yeah, I like, sifting through that kind of stuff and seeing who has who ranked where, and it's pretty fun. But you know what? I've had Desnoyers high all season long, and so yeah, you know what? It's going to be interesting to see how that goes. But the Mem Cup tonight's game, if you can find it online or something like that, people, London Med Hat is going to be a beautiful, beautiful game to watch.
Yeah, just do whatever you can do. Get a VPN, go on that shady website.
Yeah. I'm sure
it's worth it.
I'm sure there'll be some live streams, and then obviously tonight the Oil are playing, and that's going to be a lot of good hockey tonight to watch.
A lot of great hockey.
Yeah, so let's get on that. But so now we're going to move on to our prospect of the week, and that is Cullen Potter, Arizona State. Yes,
gosh,
you're excited about this one, eh? So I'll let me.
I'm so excited.
Let me put up his points first, and then you can start bragging about Mr. Cullen Potter, the American. He had 21 points in 32 games in the regular season. He's 5'10", 170-pound centerman. And the name of the game with Cullen Potter is his skating. Just unreal skater. I'll leave the floor to you there, Linc. Talk to us about Cullen Potter.
Well, firstly, I want to kind of acknowledge the fact that we're living in this world right now. It's 2025, and there is a top 20 prospect who plays at Arizona State University in the United States. It's unbelievable to me. If you would have told me that that would have been the case when I first started following hockey, I would have been like, "What? Is Austin Matthews on a team now?" Like that was what I was thinking. Like is there a junior team down there? No. It's blasphemous to me. Also, because I toured ASU and I could have been watching this guy in my junior year. But besides the point, Cullen Potter, name of the game is speed, but one thing I would love to add in there is skill. This guy's got gobs and gobs of skill, and you'll love to see the skating. You'll love to see the amazing amounts of skill he has. I think what's going to be key is actually going to be his height, because we love to ogle over the skating and skill of a prospect, but that 5'10", 172 is small, but it's still disputed. We don't know how tall this guy is. So I think the
combine is soon. The combine is soon.
We will hold a lot of stuff here, but again, let's just get into his game. So for goodness sake.
I want to show a little pass right there. So a little heads up play. Like you said, it's not about the skating. It's about the skill set. Let me see if I can find some other nice goals here. So here, that was him stick handling at the top there, and then he just blasted home. Cullen Potter with the move. Right
look
there.
At the confidence just to look off his open ends here. First of all, just beautiful. That's a college defenseman. That's a man that he is deking out. He's got a teammate who's wide open too. That's crazy.
Watch this one. Cuts up the middle here, and watch this goal. Boom! Quick release. Look at that. Look at that.
I have that same one.
Right in the middle of the ice here, and he gets that. Look at like that. The first few steps, he's just gone. He's gone. Like, yeah. And
I pulled a couple of clips.
Right?
I pulled up a couple of clips, and I have that exact same one. I'm like, oh, that's one of my favorites. I love just the quick, like, he does have one of the best shots in this draft, and which is really impressive. I think when we look at this draft, we examine like kind of like what the superlatives are. He's got a top 5 wrist shot in this draft. I could see it translating very soon. I think another year or two at Arizona State, he won't really need that much more. He's going to be very high profile player. I really, really love just the offensive instincts are fantastic. You don't have to worry about that. We'll talk about some of the downsides in this game, but yeah, I think, hold on, pull up my clip, because this was his first game with Arizona State this year, I believe. If not, it was his first series.
Unreal. This is his first game.
I think it was first game or first series. Oh my gosh. Welcome to the NCAA, Cullen Potter. Yeah, that was my favorite goal of the entire year by any prospect, and that happened in October, I think.
And for him to bypass the NTDB, so he's a 2007 NCAA player. So we got to remember, like, guys like Hagens and Hensler, they're both 2006 born NCAA players. So he's a 2007. He's a true draft eligible player. And for him to come into, I mean, granted, where he's playing and stuff like that, that division's a little bit weaker compared to, like the Big Ten. But
the NCHC, it's still a very, very strong
it's good.
conference.
Yeah.
Don't forget the Western Michigan won the entire Frozen Four, and they came out of the NCHC.
Yeah.
Denver was a formidable team this year, despite their loss to a club team. They came out of the NCHC this year. I think Arizona State's move to the NCHC has been huge.
Oh, yeah.
And there's some big name guys going to Arizona to pair up with him next year. Like Ben Keevan is going to be there. Very excited to see how a guy with such playmaking, I would say potential, because he hasn't realized it yet. We'll get into it. We talk about his game. Is going to pair with a guy with a shot like Ben Keevan. So that's very interesting to me.
Let me show another clip. This is the compete. So this is him working, like fighting for the puck here. And so, you like that little edge that he has in his game, where he's not shy from the physicality part of the game. And you know what, like the U18s, I think was a good indicator as to how he could play against the top peers of his age group. So, and I thought he played really well. He was noticeable every game for the US squad.
Absolutely. That's one of the things that I really, really take into account, because overcoming size, that happens two ways. One, you have to contribute. You have to add value to your team in some way. Usually that's going to have to be offense. Like, name me a player who's under 5'10" in the NHL. That's hard enough to do. Who doesn't contribute offensively. And if they don't contribute like 60 points a year, that person is the hardest worker on that team. Look at a guy like Connor Garland. I look at Cullen Potter and I see the requisite compete that he needs to succeed in the NHL. I kind of would be astonished if he doesn't get taken in the top 10, because looking at what he's done this year, I can't really see how a scouting department can look at that and be like, all right, this is a guy that can play an absolute role on our team and can be that scorer for us. I love the shot. I love the stick handling. We talk about the skating forever. He can separate himself against those guys, and that's against men. Arguably, the Big Ten is the biggest conference. If you want to stand out physically, look at what Shane Van Saggy has done. Go to the Big Ten and prove your prowess there. I would argue the NCHC is probably, if not the fastest, the second fastest conference. They really are. It's a speedy game there. Look at how Denver has just worn out teams in two of the last four national titles. I just love that conference. A big fan of like a lot of prospects come out of there. Tons of Notre Dame talents. Zeev Boyum last year, and Cullen Potter. Again, he's my highlight from that conference this year.
I think that, like you're talking about Cullen Potter being in the top 10. I think the only thing that might scare off teams.
Top 20, my bad.
Oh, okay. Top 20. I can totally agree with that. Actually, I see it. Top 10 would be a little push because of his size, and that's.
Did I say top 10? I did not mean to say top 10.
I know.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. So we'll say top 20. I'll have to correct you on that one.
No, you're right. You're right too. So yeah, he's just entered my top 20. I'd watched like a stretch of 5 games by him, and I went throughout the year. I was like, all right, let's like make sure we're not like stacking games here. And he's a very consistent player. If anything, he got more physical towards the end of the year, which was like, oh, love that, Cullen.
Yeah, you know what? I think that when you got skill like that and that speed, and if he can add some physicality, like now there are things about his game that he needs to work on. His play away from the puck. There are times when he's not positionally sound, I guess you could say, or he's missing assignments and things of that nature. But I mean, you know what? He's a 17-year-old in the NCAA, and that's a structured league, I guess you could say. So, run and gun, kind of like, it's not run and gun like the CHL where you can get away with that kind of stuff. In the NCAA, you got to be aware of your surroundings and you got to be aware of your positioning. And so, young guys coming in, especially, like I said, a 17-year-old freshman. Yeah, but he, you know what? He got better as the year progressed. I have to admit, the first few viewings I had of him, I'm like, oh, some things that he needs to work on. By the end, though, I was like, wow, he's fixed up part of his game. So he was learning, he was developing, progressing. Remember, we always talked about progression throughout this season. He did that, and I was really impressed with his play by the end of the season.
Absolutely. I talk all the time about how if a player gets better throughout the year, that's a big plus for me. Again, that's showing literal development in front of your eyes
Yeah.
that he could be doing in your system. One of the biggest things that drew me back in the beginning of the year and is kind of still making me, okay, let's bring it back on Cullen Potter is more, again, I worry about what type of a forward he's going to be because we look at all the skating, we look at all the shot, we look at all the stick handling that he can do, and he can do that by himself pretty well in the NCHC, and he can do it pretty well by himself at the NCAA level. However, you've got to keep progressing. You've got to be able to show that you can add an asset to your game by, I don't know, showing that you can be able to pass. And he plays a little bit more of a selfish game. And his passing to me, his playmaking is really not there. He misses some passes, like really wildly sometimes. There has got to be a maturity to his game a little bit. Fantastically skilled player. You've got to add a little bit of another element when you're 5'10". It's just the reality of the game, and the passing has to get a little bit better. But the runway is there. He's an 07. He's got, I would say another year or two in the NCAA to get that fixed. I really think the team that drafts him is going to be like, there's runway here. We can totally just sit on this for a year or two, probably 2 years.
I'd say two
And
more. Yeah, two more.
yeah,
Would be perfect.
I think in year two, when he's a junior, you have a Hobie Baker candidate on your hands. I really do. I think that the maturity is totally going to come. The Arizona State coffers are opening up, and they're going to become a formidable team in the NIL and transfer market soon. They've shown it. They really have they've been getting a ton of prospects. So I really respect what they've been doing there. I totally see the growth there. And not to be whatever, but rubbing shoulders here, but the World Juniors looks pretty good with this guy on this team. I don't know about you. I see a second Zegras, so I'd be afraid, Mark. I'd be
I don't
very
know
afraid.
about that. No, well, Canada, we won't talk about World Juniors and the Canadian hockey team, but hopefully they do better next year. Yeah, you know what? It was a fun. Colin Potter is a fun player to watch for sure, and like I said, I can't wait to see his development in the next couple of years because I think that he might be one of the steals of this draft if he drops too far. If he starts falling out of that top 20, like you said, yeah, I that might be a really, really, really nice pickup by whoever gets him.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we've kind of just gone all over it. I think he's really he's the guy that if you're taking a swing in the first round, which most teams are, most
Yeah.
teams should, that's the guy I'm taking a swing on, especially in a draft like this.
Beautiful. All right. That's it with Colin Potter. You know what's next? Hey, yo, follower questions. Let's go. All right. What are we doing
We
here,
need more
Mr.
questions. We got a little bit
Yeah.
of we got a little bit amount of questions here. Sure, certainly with the Cullen Potter episode, we're going to get a bunch of questions.
I hope so. Yes.
I really do think so. But let's get right into it. Let's get right
Okay.
into it.
Let's take a look here. Let's see what we got.
Arctic Pilot heading to the draft this year and hoping to see Utah trade back with Pittsburgh, assuming they retain New York's pick. I'd be happy walking away with Bear and Martin at 11 and 12. Is that saying that?
Woo!
I wonder if that's saying they're getting both the 11th and 12th pick for the fourth pick. Pittsburgh is in the realm. I think Kyle Dubas is one of those frisky GMs. He's going to be trying to move up. He's really going to be doing it. And as we've discussed before, Buffalo is a team that can move back. I don't know if that'll be that enticing for the Pittsburgh Penguins, but Utah could be a team that's like, we want to go right now. We want to try to win right now. And if it's not a player, they can get some picks out of this. And I think that's a pretty good range to get there at 11 and 12. You're still getting quite a player there. So
Yeah.
who would they even target
I don't
at
think
that point?
Martin will be there at 11, 12. His stock really rose after the World Juniors. You know, he had 11 points in 7 games. He was physical. He was he was a menace on the ice. And I think that a lot, I've been watching the rankings and the mocks. He's popped into the top 10 now.
Yeah, that's something that I've seen a bunch too. However, the thing is, if he goes in the top 10, someone else falls. So at 11, if Martin is in the top 10, some guy like Victor Eklund, Jake O'Brien, even on some mocks I've seen, Roger McQueen and Radamurka would be available there, as well as a guy like Carter Bear. I've talked about this a lot. I'm not the biggest Carter Bear in the top 20 fan. I would say if Utah is really, I feel like if they get 2 picks or if they get back to 11, they're looking at a defenseman. And I think Radamurka, obviously you can go safe with that pick. Logan Hensler is also in that realm of possibility. I think they would love to get a Logan Hensler. And if they got a second pick, my heart says WHL, and I think Roger McQueen has got his name all written all over that Utah pick. If they trade back.
If they trade back, the thing with Roger McQueen is I still want to, they're saying that he's got spondylosis and he's got, they said that it's not really going to affect him, overall and stuff like that. So I don't know what's going to happen there. It's going to be interesting to see what goes on. But I think McQueen's going to be the wild card of this draft, I think, in terms of, because of his health history and stuff like that. The combine's going to probably play a role in that too. And see what's going on. Okay.
I'm still a big fan of him. So I will see. Everyone's been saying everyone's erring a lot more on the caution side. I think there's really just there are people that have to take the risk and have to jump in the pool. That's kind of where I'm at with McQueen. But again, people are allowed to be like, oh, McQueen has an injury. I'm not taking that. You can think that, but I'm going to be the forward-thinking organization that if he falls outside the top 10, I'm going to jump on that. So,
absolutely,
absolutely.
All right. So you know what? Need more questions, people. If you're watching this, get some questions on there, and
give us some crazy trade scenarios. Give us if you want a thought on a guy who is in the consensus first round prospect, I will go to town on that. I will go to town and just explain my thoughts on that player. But no, give us more questions. We'll be going into more mock drafts. We need more
questions, baby. Let's go.
So bring us everything.
All right. So that's it for today. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon, everyone. Cheers.